been about 8 or 9 years old. But remember, this is in the Napoleon Hill's book. And she took 2 or 3 steps forward and looked him straight in the eye and hollered at him and said, "My mammy said, send me 50 cents. Send her 50 cents. And she kept her eye on him. And he got captivated. He put the stick down, went in his pocket, and got the 50 cents and gave it to her. And she kept her eye on him and backed out the door. And Napoleon Hill goes on to describe how this little girl conquered that white man simply by the sheer strength of her desire.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes to succeed out there.
Right.
The strength of your desire and the application of all of your energies to the pursuit of that particular thing. So that was the theme that I followed in my teaching for those students at Southern University. We got a couple millionaires out there right now, right here in Houston, doing quite well. So, back to flying then. That's what I'm supposed to be talking to you about.
We're gonna stop you right there, and we're going to go to Mr. Alexander and let him do an intro on his background, and then we will go specifically into the roles of airmen.
Okay.
My name is Clyde Alexander. I was born in Louisiana, raised in Texas, Mexico, and Arizona. In the end, I wound up coming to Houston. So I came here at an early age and worked around where I could underage. It was tough back then, that's for sure. The only thing you could find was dishwashing. So I stuck with it until I went into the Army in 45 and went to Fort Sam Houston introduction there. I went to start off for basic training. Then I was qualified to go into the Air Force. I went to Sheffield, took my basic training. From there I went to Tuskegee, the heavenly home. Because some other bases was absolutely pathetic, I tell you. You didn't feel like you was an American soldier. You felt like you was anything. You didn't eat, didn't march with the whites. It was really tough then. Drink water, 2 water fountains. Right on the bus, a line, you had a line, that's how far you can go. It was really tough. When I went to Tuskegee, I think that was the best thing ever happened to me in the second service. In the meantime, I was a baker since I've been out for Safeway about 20 years, and wine garden about 15, I guess. I went to mechanic school to become a mechanic, and Ellison Field was hired, but my MOS was 747, but the guy would let me fill out an application because he said it was only hiring 750. So I missed out on that, so I stayed with the baker until I retired. And been married 58 years, raised 9 kids. Now I got 13 grand.
13 grand and how many grapes?
5. Yeah, well, we had a good life as time goes. Because 58 years ago, money was very scarce. You had to work 2 and 3 jobs that make ends meet. But I really enjoyed my stay at Tuskegee. It was really good. I would have liked to stay with aircraft mechanic until I retired, but I could miss out on it, so I stayed with Baker. I'll be right there every day of the week. Right there in the corner. School crossing guard. I can't stop. Right there.
That's exactly right. So this is a treat for those of us who live and work and walk and drive pass this corner every day, every morning and every afternoon. Mr. Alexander, an American hero, is crossing your children safely across the street.
By the way, I already been doing it 17 years.
Oh,
Wow.
I gotta be doing stuff. I can't just sit around. 1 hour in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. That don't hurt nobody.
Yeah.
When you get up in the morning, 5:30, get over here at 7.
Yeah.
And then 8:15, you go.
Yeah.
You do anything you want. Back
So, you were a mechanic though at Tuskegee. Tuskegee on the airfield. And you were a mechanic on those planes, on those training planes.
Yes.
So which ones is specifically you specialize in?
The P-51, P-47, B-17, B-25.
all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
AT-6 wasn't nothing. That was just a training plane.
Well, don't call that nothing, man. That's what we trained on.
That's what we got
Don't
trained.
talk about that AT-6, man.
That's why they stayed in the shop so much.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that. That's what I'm getting at. Okay.
The fast ones didn't stay in the shop, but they're little.
Well, what about the BT-14? Now, that was our basic training.
No, we didn't have none of them at Tuskegee.
Oh, yeah, well, that's what we trained in. The PT-14 and the PT and the AT-6. And we trained in the PT-17 out at Bowden Field.
I never worked on what you call it?
The PT-14.
No.
That's our basic training. Huh?
I worked on B-17.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, well, you really at Tuskegee now, because Bombers BT-17 was not at Tuskegee. That was the big boy, man. You worked on those?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, okay. All right.
That's the one that took the.
That's the one that did the bombing.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
BT-17.
Well, they had to train on. They had to train them to get them, to know how to fly them, but I don't remember no.
Well, what about the B-25?
Oh, yeah.
The okay, all right, okay. We're together now. The B-25. About 256 of our pilots were designated as bomber pilots. But you never heard of a combat bomber, black pilot. They did not send them overseas. They almost didn't send the fighter ships overseas because they didn't know what to do with it. And reluctantly, they sent those boys overseas, and they proved that they were the better pilots.
And then the B-25, we had to warm them up for the pilots.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, we run that there with the 26 hours PM with the brake on it. Go like this.
Yeah, well, you see, all this is behind the scenes stuff now. we as pilots didn't see all that stuff in the mechanics did.
That's what we could warm them up every morning for pilots.
Is that right? Okay, all right.
Tuskegee really most of our training base.
That's right, it was a training base.
You know Vegas, then you went over Vegas.
Oh, yeah, it was a training place for black pilots.
Yes, sir. And that's a good movie. I wish everybody could see that movie. That was really something.
What,
Red
Red Tail? Oh, yeah.
We seen it down at
Yeah.
It's hard thing. Everybody should see that movie.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Buffalo Soldier was good, but it wasn't nothing.
I see.
Now, are you biased because you have a personal experience with the time, or it was a good movie? Let's talk about the movie. Did anybody see the movie Red Tails in here?
We seen it Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, that is what already.
But don't read the critical reviews. Of course, you know, when the movie critics get on to a movie, you wonder whether you looked at the same movie.
No, I can form my own opinion.
Yeah.
I don't read
Okay.
that.
Okay. All right.
The depiction of red tails. Let's get your opinion of red tails.
Well, my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, my first opinion was that I listened to the speech of those pilots, and my first reaction was that I doubted that the first pilots that went overseas did not talk like that. And the reason why I said that, because they were college graduates. They only allowed college graduates to take those examinations, and they passed the examinations. And those first guys, for instance, Robin Roberts' daddy, Spanky.
Robin Roberts.
You know Robin Roberts?
Good Morning America.
Robin Roberts, Good Morning
Tuskegee
America. Her
Airmen.
daddy was the first one that was inaugurated as a trainee for the Tuskegee experiment. Now, the first thing I want to tell you was Tuskegee Airmen was not the first group that these boys got into. These trainers got into. The first group that the United States organized was the CPT group. That was a college pilots training group. And they opened that group at 5 black colleges. West Virginia State was one. Hampton was another one. Tuskegee was another one. I can't name the other 2, but there were 5. Spanky Roberts came through West Virginia, and he was the first one that was inducted as a trainee for the Tuskegee Army Airfield Experiment. Spanky went on when he retired. I'm trying to remember. When he retired as a colonel, and I think he died in 1978. But he stayed in and became a squadron commander overseas with the 332nd. So his record is clear as to what he did. He was the first one into that.
So you said that the language was the first thing that you...
The language, that's right. The language, the tone of the language. And that was my criticism.
What about you, Mr. Alexander? Did you have any criticisms of the movie, or?
No, everything was A-okay with me.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I went to, you was talking about Texas Southern.
Yeah.
I went back when it was Texas State University.
Oh, yeah.
Radio and television.
Yeah.
Mims and...
Oh, you were under Mims?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you read today's paper, you know, Texas Southern celebrating 80 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I went when it was way back by the track, you know, by that, where the...
Yeah.
We had portable buildings back then.
Is that right?
Well, I was doing 2 things. I was going to bakery school, I finished it, and then...
What is it you didn't do?
I know that.
All right.
You
You covered all the bases, man.
Oh, yeah. Work bakery, night and day.
Yeah.
I had a large family, 9 kids, 2 and 3 boys.
I was very excited. Like I said, this whole kind of coming together of the EcoTone movement, as we like to think of it, is we have our logo, which is the world, and we have hands. We have a tree coming up through our logo, and our slogan is, we EcoTone, we ecologically atone, because the world is in our hands. And again, that is something that is embracing all of us. We have to take action, we have to do things because it's up to us, right? And so I'm over here, you know, we're over here knocking down walls and digging up tile, and every day we see Mr. Alexander, you know, and he is just crossing there with all the little kids. And it's funny to me because in the morning sometimes I see these kids, they're so rambunctious and all over the place, and he just, hold on, I'm trying to tell you, you know, and he gets over. So when he gets over to this side, you know, he took a time before he said to me, now what's going on over here? And he said, you know, so now he doesn't say that anymore. He says, when is it going to be open? Because they're worrying me to death. Everybody's worrying him, asking Mr. Alexander. But so one day he came over and I was in here I was making up the poster that featured Dr. Bickham. And he came and he said, oh, and he was taking my the potted plants outside or inside, one of the 2. Outside. And he just said to me, well, one good thing that I knew we were meant to be together was because he told me that he was a baker, and I specialize as a pastry chef and master baker. So I said, what? Are you kidding me? They said, yeah, I baked eclairs and everything for years for Safeway and Wine Garden. And look, I told him, I said, well, that's good, because you can come in here and teach me some other stuff, or, give me some, the chefs we know, right? I was like, ding, ding, ding. So, I keep trying, yes, I know, exactly. So I keep chipping away at him to give me some tips of whatever. He just walked right back across the street. But then, he came over one day. I was working on the poster with Dr. Bickham, and I'm so excited because I'm thinking, oh my God, this is Black History Month. We got some real great Black history here, and this building is full of history. And he came, picked up the pocket, and he said, I'm a Tuskegee Airman, just out of the blue. I said, what? I said, what? Are you kidding me? And he said, yeah. I told him. I just ran up and dragged him in to the computer and showed him where I was working on this poster. And he said, oh yeah, I never tell people that. Which was interesting. I didn't know what. I said, the spirit is alive, I tell you. Yeah. Because he said even at the school, a lot of people don't know that he's an airman. And so it's just amazing to me because, again, that the information would flow and connect with me, who wanted to share so much anyway. And I thought it'd be so strong and relevant, right, that every day we are crossing these paths and everybody is so hyped up about red tails, right? We talking about red tails this, and we've got so much pride and everything, and little do we know.
Right up under your nose.
Every day. Did you hear me?
And I hold his spot when he leaves. Because I come a couple of times, you always park right there.
I know.
A couple of times I said, oh man, he got my, oh no he don't. That's before we find it out.
Right.
That's just
I said, what a treasure and a treat for all of us to unveil this fact that, and then to reaffirm the importance that we have as a community. To come together and to get to know each other because, my God, so I said, oh my God, this is going to be so great. And then I called Dr. Bickham and I told Dr. Bickham, I found another one. So I was so excited.
I was relieved. I said, hey, I don't know how I'm going to do by myself, but now I got somebody with me.
We together the showing of the red tails, January, what was it, 11th?
Yeah, I guess so.
We were down at the Edward
That's
Theater.
Yeah.
Showing
That's
of the
why
film.
Yeah. Really good. I went over to Dr. Bickham's house, and he has a wonderful, now he's a man after my own heart. Educated. Okay, now I have the journalism background too, but he went straight into interviewing me. So I said, okay, but I guess he kind of caught himself in his intellect. Then he said, well, who's interviewing you? I said, well, I'm interviewing you, but I'll wait until you get finished. Okay. Also me, I love photography. My dad is a photographer hobby. I mean, he collected cameras, and we had dark room, all that. My mom, we were big picture takers. And here we find a photographer in Dr. Bickham who documented all of this, right? So the poster that you see are pictures from his archives, and how happy could I have been that he said, oh, I said, well, do you have any pictures? And his wife was like, oh, boy.
Who brought rabbit in the brown?
Yeah!